Hello and welcome to my channel. Today's video we are going to be making this cute little witch. She is no sew, and then we will have to embroider on the little hands, mouth, and then add the hair. And then I have also done one up in the plush yarn if you want to try it in a larger yarn. For this video I used a number 4 medium weight yarn, a 4.25 millimeter hook, and 10 millimeter safety eyes. And for the plush version I used a number 6 blanket yarn, a 5.5 millimeter hook, and 14 millimeter safety eyes. This is a crochet along, so I will be doing every stitch with you, and I am also providing a drop down at the top of the screen with the pattern instructions for the first 30 seconds of every row for you to follow along with. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button and click that bell. Not only does that help me out, but you will also be notified every time I load a new video, as well as any likes, shares, and comments are always appreciated. Okay, I think that's everything. So grab your yarn and let's get started. All right, we are going to begin at the top of the hat, so grab whatever color you're using. I'm going to use purple just because black does not show up very easily. And you can begin any way you prefer, as long as you have the same amount of stitches in row 1. I'm going to be doing a knot with a loop on the end, so I fold my yarn over in half. I'm going to pinch it up at top to make my loop, wrap that around my finger, down, around and through to make my knot. Grab that little loop, and then I'm just going to slide this knot up, and I just want my loop to be a little bit bigger than my hook. Then we're going to grab our hook, go into that little loop, grab our yarn, pull up, and chain 1. And remember, that chain 1 does not count as a stitch. That's just attaching our yarn to our loop. And for row 1, we're going to do 6 single crochets into the loop over top of the tail. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then if you need to close a little hole there, you're just going to pull that tail. Grab a stitch marker if you're using one. And for row 2, we are going to do 2 single crochets, 1 increase. Repeat that for a total of 8. So 1 single crochet for 1, another single crochet for 2, and then an increase for 3 and 4, and then repeat that around. So 5, 6, and an increase, 7 and 8. Row 3, we are going to do 3 single crochets, 1 increase, and repeat that for a total of 10. So 1, 2, 3, and an increase for 4 and 5. And then repeat that around. 6, 7, 8, and an increase for 9 and 10. Row 4, we are going to do 4 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that around for a total of 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, increase, 5 and 6, and then repeat that again, 7, 8, 9, 10, and an increase for 11 and 12. Row 5, we are going to do 2 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that around for a total of 16. So 1, 2, increase, 3 and 4, and then repeat that around, 5, 6, increase, 7 and 8, 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, 14, increase, 15 and 16. Row 6, we are going to do 3 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that around for a total of 20. So 1, 2, 3, increase, 4 and 5, and then repeat that around, 6, 7, 8, increase, 9 and 10, 11, 12, 13, increase, 14 and 15, 16, 17, 18, increase, 19 and 20. Row 7, we are going to do 4 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that around for a total of 24. 1, 2, 3, 4, increase, 5 and 6, and repeat that around, 7, 8, 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, increase, 17 and 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, increase, 23 and 24. Row 8, we are going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. All right, the next row we are going to be going in the front loop. So if you've never done that before, I'm just going to show you really quick here. So normally we go through underneath both of those V's in our stitches. So when we're doing a front loop, we are just going to come in, catch that first loop, and we're going to come up between the V's. So we're going to be coming up through all these front stitches, and make sure it's going the right way, because we're going to need these back stitches to finish off the rest of the witch. Okay, so for row 9, in the front loops only, we are going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase, and we're going to repeat that all the way around for a total of 36. So in the front loop, so remember, catch that front, come up through the V, 1 single crochet, increase for 2 and 3, 4, increase, 5 and 6, 7, increase, 8 and 9. And I'm just going to stop here. Just have a check. You should be seeing all these back stitches here now. That's what we need for the next row. So keep on the front loops. This is our single crochet for 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, increase, 14 and 15, 16, increase, 17 and 18, 19, increase, 20 and 21, 22, increase, 23 and 24, 25, increase, 26 and 27, 28, increase, 29 and 30, 31, increase, 32 and 33, 34, and our last increase, 35 and 36. And then I'm just going to slip stitch into the next stitch, and we're going to tie this off. Leave yourself a little bit of a tail so we can bring that onto the inside later. Okay, now you're going to grab whatever skin color you're using. We're going to be attaching this yarn, and you can attach any way you prefer, but I like to do my knot with a loop on the end. I just am a firm believer in knotting everything. I just don't trust just grabbing your yarn and starting to use a different color. So I just did my knot with the loop on the end. You can do a slip knot too. And then remember which way you were going, because you don't want to start making this the right way and then all of a sudden you're going inside out because you're going, say, this way. So you want to make sure you're crocheting still the right way around. And we're going to go into that first back loop. I'm going to attach my yarn, and then I'm just going to bring it through that back loop. And I'm going to chain 1, and this isn't going to count as a stitch. This is just attaching our yarn. And now we are going to do 24 single crochets all the way around in the back loop. And I'm going to go, my first stitch is going to go in the same stitch that I attached my yarn. So 1, And if you fold this brim down, it will help you see those back loops as you're going around. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, whoops, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. And if for some reason you don't have 24, just kind of fudge your numbers here so you end up with 24 by doing an increase or a decrease or going into another stitch. And then when you go to start your next row, remember that you did that chain 1 when you attached the yarn. So make sure you're going behind your first single crochet and into that first V and not into this chain back here. So for row 11, we're going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Row 12, we're going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Row 13, we are going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and then now on our 24th one, we're going to change color. So you can go in, grab your yarn, pull up, and leave those 2 loops on the hook. I'm going to cut my old color so I don't accidentally cut the wrong color once they're together. And then you're going to grab your new color. So this will be the dress. And we're just going to tie our old color and our new color nice and tight, as close to the hook as you can get it, 2 or 3 times. And then you're going to grab that new color and you're just going to pull it through those 2 loops to finish off that last stitch of your previous row. Row 14, we are going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Row 15, we are going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Row 16, 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Row 17, we are going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Row 18, we're going to be going in the front loops again, so remember we're going to come down, under, go up through the V, and just catch that front loop because we're going to need these back loops to finish off and close. So for row 18, we are going to start with a picot stitch, so that's going to be a single crochet. Then we're going to do a chain 1, and then we're going to do another single crochet in the same stitch. And then we're going to do 2 slip stitches, slip stitch, whoops, hold on, I'm still doing my first one, so 1 slip stitch, 2 slip stitches. So I'm going to do the next one slow, and then I'm going to speed up. So picot, so that's a single crochet in the front loop, a chain 1, and then a single crochet in that same front loop, and then 2 slip stitches, 1, 2, and that's just going to give you some little peaks all the way around. And then we're just going to repeat that same sequence. So picot, single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, 2 slip stitches. And remember, they're all in the front loops. Picot, single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, and 2 slip stitches. Picot, single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, 2 slip stitches, 1, 2. Picot, single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, and 2 slip stitches. Picot, single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, and then 2 slip stitches, 1, 2. We should be getting close to the end here. Picot, single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, and then 2 slip stitches. So it should look like this, and then you've got all your back stitches, back loops for your next row. But before we do that, let's add our eyes and maybe some stuffing. So grab those and get those ready. And now we got to find our eye row. And what I want to do is I want to make sure my back, where I did this, is my actual back. So that I'm just going to make sure that that's in the back center. And you'll know the back because that's where your stitch marker is and your last stitch. Then you're going to flip it around to the front. And we are just going to go down 2 rows from the top. So the first 2 rows of green, 1, 2, and then we're going to go in between that third and, or the second and third row. And I'm in an actual stitch. I'm not in a hole. And then you're going to grab your first eye. You go in that first hole beside your pin. And you're going to count over 3 holes, including that hole. So 1, 2, 3. And then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. You're going to go to that hole right beside your pin. 1, 2, 3, and in that third hole. So it'll look like this. And then we'll just put our backs on. And add a little bit of stuffing. So I want to have my guy about 2/3 full. So I have most of my stuffing in, but I have enough room to kind of, oops, I forgot this was the witch. I want to put a little bit up in the top before I get going, just so that's nice and full, and shape it how you want it to look. And then add your stuffing. But we still want it 2/3 full, because we want to be able to put our back loop stitches in without catching stuffing. And then we can add a little bit more at the end if we need to. All right, that's good enough for me. So let's get our hook back in. Okay, so we're going to chain 2 first, just so we can get back to our back loops without squishing this together too much. And we're going to find our first back loop. And we're going to do, for row 19, in the back loops, 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 16. And if you fold this flap down, it will help you see those stitches quite a bit better. So 1 and a decrease for 2, 3 and a decrease for 4, and remember this is all in the back loops of our previous row. 5 and a decrease for 6, 7 and a decrease for 8, 9 and a decrease for 10. Whoop, caught some stuffing, so I'm still on 10. 11 and a decrease for 12. 13 and a decrease for 14. 15 and a decrease for 16. And row 20, we are just going to do 8 decreases. Whoop. So 1 decrease, 2 decreases, 3 decreases, 4 decreases, 5 decreases, 6 decreases, 7 decreases, and 8 decreases. And then we're just going to do a slip stitch into the next stitch. Whoop. And we'll tie that off. Leave yourself quite a bit of a tail. I like to put mine up through the top here. And then if you want to use this for anything afterwards, then you have that option. And now we can add a little extra stuffing in there. And so what you want to do is kind of bring all your stuffing over to the sides. You want to make sure the bottom stays flat. So I'm just kind of sticking my finger in and making sure I'm just kind of filling the holes right here. So it's kind of squared off on the bottom. As soon as you feel like it's starting to maybe round out on the bottom, then you've probably got enough. And also be careful that you're not stretching your stitches out. I'm going to put just a little bit more in, I think. So see, that's fairly firm, but I've also got a flat bottom still. So that's what you're looking for. All right, let's do his little mouth now. And I'm just taking a scrap of yarn. Embroidery thread will look better. I've already stolen off this one. Usually you'll have 4 strands. This one I only have 2 left, but you're just going to separate those 2 strands and then you'll just pull them apart. And then you'll take that 1 strand now and we'll thread it on. And I'm going to go in from the bottom since we don't have very far to go. And I'm going to start, I want the center of my mouth to be down here at the bottom, right where the purple and green are. So I'm going to go 1 stitch over this way and 1 stitch over this way. So I'm going to start over here. I'm just kind of holding my thumb to remind myself where I want to be. And then you're going to leave a little bit of thread on the bottom for tying. Then you're going to come down and over. And you're going to go up and over, skipping this hole and going over 1 more. And then you're just going to come back down, over and into that same hole there and out the bottom. And there's your little mouth. And then you're just going to tie those 2 ends on the bottom. Do it nice and loose so you're not pulling your stitches. And we'll give them a cut. And let's close this up now. So I'm threading on my end tail on the bottom. And if you don't want to see that little piece through whatever color you've used, you can just stick a little tiny bit of stuffing there, cover that up. And then we're just going to go in the top loops of all the stitches all the way around. And if you happen to be doing this in the plush yarn, I would suggest going in a couple of stitches at a time and then pulling it, and then that way your yarn isn't going to break on you, or shouldn't. I've got 1 more here. And then you're just going to pull that closed. And then I like to go just in the next stitch and give it a tie. Oh, that's the same one, that one. And then you're just going to go into that bottom center again and then out the top. And the reason I go out the top here is maybe you want to use this string to make a loop of some sort if you don't have a keychain or anything. Or if you're just going to leave it how it is, you can just cut it now. I'm going to leave mine. Let's do this little string on the back of the hat now too. Now I'm just going to go into one of my V's, kind of bring it down through a few of those stitches, and then out somewhere. Usually I like to stay, if I got the same matching color, I'll go through the same color if it's not too far away. Cut that off. Let's take our stitch marker out. Oh. And then let's do some hair. And I just kind of measured where I wanted my hair with my fingers. So let's say I want to make it about 3 fingers long. Make it a little longer than you need because you can always cut it. And I'm just going to wrap my yarn around, I think I did about 18-ish. And we're going to cut it on the bottom. Pinch it up at the top. Cut it on the bottom again through that hole. And then we got our little strands of hair. And then all we're going to do, I think I started the second hole back from here, from the eyes. So if here's the eyes, here's my first hole, here's my second hole, and that's where I started. And I'm just going to go around that last green row. We're going to put our yarn folded over top of our hook. Whoops, it's hard to do in the air. We're going to pull that through. You want to make sure your hair is even, so both ends are about the same. And then you're just going to grab that yarn and pull it through that loop that you just made. And then you're just going to go all the way around until you're to the other side. What I did was I did this one, and then I did this one. So you do your eye, your hole, and then your next stitch. And then I did the back, so I knew where I was stopping. I'll do one more here. So fold it, I gotta put it down. So fold it over, pull it through, you make that loop, grab those ends, and then pull it through that loop you made, and tighten it up. There we go. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button and click that bell. Not only does that help me out, but you'll also be notified every time I load a new video, as well as any likes, shares, and comments are always appreciated. I'd also like to say thank you to everyone who has been so kind to have hit the thanks button and sent me such generous donations. You will now be listed at the end of all my next videos as my super thanks friends. Take care, be safe, and happy crocheting.